A Democrat with heft tells Biden to exit stage left. I speak of former Obama strategist David Axelrod, who suggested that President Biden drop out of the 2024 race. Yeah, he wants... Control yourselves, you animals. Yeah, he wants Joe to reconsider since his numbers are in the... He was responding to the poll we mentioned earlier that showed Biden trailing Trump in key battleground states, including Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. True, he's sliding down more polls than a gay firefighter. I don't get that. Enough. Axelrod posted on X that the data will send tremors of doubt through the Democratic Party and create legitimate concern about the president seeking re-election. When Gavin Newsom heard that, he screamed, "Thank you, Lord Satan," and celebrated by dipping his head in a vat of high-performance Valvoline. Axelrod concluded, quote, "What he needs to decide is whether that is wise, whether it's in his best interest or the country's." Unfortunately, Axelrod didn't specify which country, America, Ukraine, or China. What say you, Joe?
No. Look, my interests are the same interests aligned with the country. He doesn't know what he's talking about, Axelrod. I liked him better when he played infield for the Yankees. But let me tell you something, A-Rod. I know you did PEDs, all right? You did PEDs, you admitted it. So I got one question for you. Where can I get some? I need them.
Joe, do you think the other Joe is worried? Do you think he even is aware of this is going on?
He has no clue. He has no clue. I like how some of the Democrats think his age snuck up on them.
Yeah.
That it's like, well, first he was 78, then he was 79. It's followed it.
That's how it works.
Yes. But there is somebody waiting in the wings.
Oh, no.
There is, and it's somebody who's he's younger, he's got great hair, he's great with the ladies.
Please come to California and visit the great state he destroyed.
Oh, no,
Please.
I mean Hunter Biden.
Oh, okay, good.
No.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why
Much rather have him.
Hunter Biden would be awesome, because they talk about, would they be awake for the 3 a.m. call? Yeah. He's awake.
Oh, he's awake.
He's been awake for a couple of days.
He puts the call in call girl.
Right? So think of how productive Hunter was when he was on crack.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I know if I lose my laptop, I'm out of work for a while. He's losing 2 or 3 at a time and didn't even slow him down. So I think he's the man they got to put in that place.
What do you think, Kat? Do you think that he's going to be replaced? Was like Axelrod the first guy to step forward?
I think Axelrod's giving him way too much credit, actually.
Yeah.
Because he said what he needs to do is decide.
It's true.
He's not deciding anything. There's no way you can look at that guy and think he's making any kind of decision.
Right.
At all. Even like, he doesn't know what time he goes to bed. Not up to him. What time he wakes up in the morning. Like he doesn't have any idea what he's doing next week.
Yes.
Right? And I just, it's not the age thing. I said this repeatedly. It's not the age thing. It's the fact that regardless of the age, you don't seem to be okay. Like,
He was a mess years ago.
I could not sit here and do that and like come back and do it again.
Yeah.
I would be sent away somewhere. They'd be like, all right, Kat, you need to take like 90 days and go away.
He's actually worse than Brezhnev. And they got, that's a former leader of the Soviet Union, for all you kids born after 1980. But they at least acknowledged there was something wrong there. And I think they replaced him with Andropov, who was then dropped off. I don't know. Emily, do you think he has any idea? By the way, Kat brings up a good point. It's not about age. It's really about ability.
Oh, yeah, of course not. And that's, again, the spin you hear from the left where, well, Trump's old. It has nothing to do with age. Mental acuity, he has none. And when you have a loved one that's deployed under his watch, you know, it's stressful all the time. Under his watch, I cannot express the level of anxiety, of lack of faith I have, knowing that it is him that is making those decisions. It is utterly frightening to be an American right now under his watch. And I have to say, I feel like I'm like sort of negative tonight. But the thing about the Axelrod stuff, so remember just last week when James Carville came out and said, top Democratic leaders are telling me to shut up, shut my mouth about how Biden is horrible and essentially is going to lose, right? And then all of a sudden, David Axelrod, Obama's former strategist, comes out and all of a sudden is saying, we need a new, it's a little late to change horses, but 3 times in that interview, yes, we should have someone else. Think about who's behind everything and what now the establishment that we are all subjected to at this moment, what decisions they're making. That's who's making the decisions.
Carrot Top.
What do you mean?
He's the one making
Snowboarder?
Yeah, no, the prop comedian.
That's
You said who's behind it.
Get vegetables and fruits confused.
Dr. Drew.
This
Where
is
do you
awful.
see this going?
It's funny, to Emily's point, though, the majority, significant, vast majority of Democrats are very happy with his administration. They don't really care that he's failing. Also, you've seen the multiple falls. That does not predict a long life expectancy. It just is a simple statistical reality. And I prefer Joe's idea to Newsom. I got to tell you, please come to California. It will strike fear into your heart, and Hunter will start looking much more appealing as a presidential candidate.
Just a medical question. It's not for anybody in particular. Do you have a certain number of falls over a lifetime?
Is the quota met yet?
Yeah,
How many have you had lately?
Well, I'm just like, it's not me.
Oh,
It's
of course
a friend of
not.
mine.
Yeah, of course, a friend. Yeah.
A friend of mine had falls regularly.
Ooh,
generally, yes.
we should talk.
Yes. Okay. Coming up, a phony newsman's demise means you're in for a surprise.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.